Slow, methodical, and boring. Just how Doug Pederson likes it. That's what she said. Mike Owens and Jeremy Burton are both here. I'm Adrian Fegke. We're here to talk about Doug Pederson's offense. And I know Jeremy's chomping at the bit because Chip Kelly's out. Doug Pederson is in. It's back to an old school type of physical brand of football.
Oh, yeah. Last 3 seasons under Chip Kelly, when the offense took the field, you pretty much had to stay in your seat. If you're at the game, if you were at home, you had to stay on your couch, and you couldn't leave because you would miss the entire series if you got up to maybe get another drink or go to the bathroom. But now, with Doug Pederson coming in, and his offense is going to be completely different. Doug Pederson is going to move the ball slowly. He wants to be methodical, and sometimes, his drives might take about, 10 minutes sometimes. So, in that span, heck, you could even go out and, take a nice walk in the park and come back, and the Eagles would still have the ball. So, really a big change here in Philadelphia. And, today we're really going to discuss, some of the advantages and disadvantages of Pederson's offense.
Yeah, get your popcorn ready. You can sit down, kick back in your recliner with your drink. You might be able to have 2 nice beers from Trogs during a drive. A couple Trogs Nugget Nectars. Obviously Doug is way different than Chip, but there's pros and cons to both. When Chip was going super fast, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to tire out the defense, moving so quick." Well, can also tire out the defense if you're running 15, 20, 17 plays in a drive that keeps the defense on the field for, however 10, 12 minutes of drive. So, both ways of moving the ball can, be positive. And then you got your defenses on the field for a lot less when as opposed to Chip because, he tired the shit out of our defense.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the differences between Chip's offense and Doug Pederson's offense from last year. Because if you look at Kansas City's offense on paper, it appears appalling. Total offense, ranked 27th. And then you got the Eagles, they ranked 12th in 2015. So you'd think, Kelly's offense, it blew Pederson's out of the water, right? And not really. You got to dig a little deeper because Kelly's up-tempo attack, that inflated the stats. It made them really look better than they were. And you got the Chiefs' slow and methodical brand of football. And you look at the plays run per game, snaps per game. Philadelphia was second, 69.2. Kansas City was second fewest, 59.3. So the Eagles, 19 more total drives. So they led the NFL, 196 possessions. You look at the total plays run throughout the whole year. I just tongue-tied myself. 1,107 snaps for Philadelphia, 949 for Kansas City. So what you got to look at in terms of stats instead of the total offense stats, you got to look at per drive stuff. So and when you look at that, Pederson's offense, it blew Kelly's out of the water last year. Philly was 22nd in points, 1.68, 21st in touchdowns, 0.194, 29th in field goals, 0.107, 29th in turnovers, 0.158, 23rd in yards per possession, 29.86. You look at Kansas City, 9th in points, 2.05, 14th in touchdowns, 0.220, 9th in field goals, 0.169, 2nd in turnovers, 0.073, and 19th in yards per touch, 30.35. So just some nuggets out there, just throwing it out for you guys, for the viewers, and just the differences there.
Yeah, so you point out some great stats there. So really here, really depicting the differences here between Kelly and Pederson. With Kelly, the way he ran his offense, he was really just all about the tempo. And really he didn't give his quarterback that much control in the system. So pretty much the Eagles, they would go up to the line of scrimmage with a play. They ran a play, I believe it's every 22.1 seconds, which was the fastest in the NFL last season. So the quarterback really didn't have that much control. The quarterback didn't have chance to really audible at the line of scrimmage. Now with Pederson, he comes in and has described his offense as West Coastish. He's going to kind of run a hybrid type of offense here in Philadelphia. And really with Pederson, the main thing is he's handing over the keys to the quarterback. The quarterback has the ability to go up to the line of scrimmage and make audibles, adjust the line of scrimmage. So that's really the big difference here with Pederson's offense is really having the quarterback make all the plays and really be the coach on the field, when Kelly was more about getting the plays run, and that's not really what Pederson's worried about. Pederson's just worried about getting a long drive in that results in a touchdown. So Pederson is not really worried about speed. So those are really the big differences there between the two offenses.
Well, one thing I'm going to like about Doug's offense is the playbook card isn't going to be this big with 6 plays on it. Chip Kelly ran the same plays over and over again, and ultimately you heard from a lot of defensive players last year that it became predictable. Like, it's just, what they're going to run. You'll run a swing pass that it might go for a yard, and they'll run the ball on second down, and you get so many 3 and outs that last like less than a minute. Whereas, Adrian pointed out all those stats. Efficiency-wise, Doug will, gain more first downs, average more points per drive, throughout the whole season. So, I'm anxious to see that. And like Mike said, we got a couple smart quarterbacks on our team. It'll be nice to let them kind of take the reins, be the leader. Sam's a smart guy, Carson down the line. He's obviously proved to be a smart kid. And Chase Daniel knows Doug's offense better than any quarterback on our roster. So, giving the reins to them and allow them to make the calls, give them more freedom. Like Mike said, I think it's going to be an efficient offense, and it's going to keep our defense, getting allowing to get breathers on the bench, unlike Chip Kelly, and we have a prime defense with Jim Schwartz, and it's exciting. So I think Doug P is a great addition.
All right, some other things to differences between Chip and Doug. Average possessions in a game, you get about 12. That's about the NFL average. Chip's offense, you get about 14 to 16 in a game, and Doug, it's like 10 to 12. At least that's what it was for Kansas City. Now I got some other nuggets too. Jordan Matthews had 997 yards with the Eagles last year. Now on paper that kind of looks pretty good, but if he was in Kansas City, he would have only had 855 yards. Jeremy Maclin only had 1,088 yards with Kansas City. Had he been with Chip Kelly, 1,270. So a vast difference there. So I've been watching a lot of Doug's offense, doing my little Adrian's Notebook series for PhillyInfluencer.com, and it's crazy because there's been 2 games that I've seen where Kansas City only had the ball 3 times in the second half, and that's because they'll go on like 2 8 to 10 minute drives, and they just slowly go down the field. Now there's some good and there's some bad to that because, well, the good is you're taking a lot of time off the clock, resting your defense, but the bad is if you're only settling for 3 points, if you're playing from behind, that's kind of a problem. I'm also a little bit worried about, this team kind of coming back, having to come back in the fourth quarter because they are so slow. Can they turn it up? Can they, kind of go fast again? Because with Chip Kelly, a lot of these, last couple years, you get a 20-point deficit, and he can make that up in like 8 minutes. So that's something to look at, I think, this year.
Yeah, well, it's going to go back to the defense. And in order for Doug Pederson to really have success with his offense, he's really going to need the defense to dominate. So the Eagles, they made a real effort here to improve the defense by bringing in Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator. Everyone is very happy that Billy Davis is gone. one of the worst decisions that Chip Kelly could ever make here in Philadelphia was when he hired him. So, Jim Schwartz, he's a great defensive coordinator, and I think that really Schwartz and Pederson, really they go hand in hand because they both need to succeed in order for the team to do well. So, and like you said, that's I think the biggest challenge with the Pederson offense is that they're not going to be able to, make up, 14 or 20 points quickly. So with the Pederson offense, they got to get out to a lead and they got to play in front. They're not going to be able to play catch up like, Chip Kelly was able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point, you worry about Andy Reid's troubles with the 2-minute drill. Okay. So is that going to carry over to Doug P? If you're down 2 scores with 2 minutes left, you gotta keep the ball rolling. That explanation with Tom Brady bullshit isn't gonna fly. I'm not gonna like that when it comes to us being in that situation this year. But it does come down to, like Mike said, defense is gonna be huge. They gotta help the offense out. Stop them to pin them and play the field position game, punt. And then maybe Sproles can get it in defense and special teams. We have great special teams as well. Big special teams plays, stopping the other offense in the fourth quarter late if we need to, forcing turnovers. This is all creating short fields. Creating short fields for our offense is going to be the best way to make us come back. Because if we have a long field, like how slow we will go, we don't want to make. Going 80 yards is going to take 8 to 10 minutes. Creating short field defense and special teams is going to be crucial.
Yeah, you look at the style of play that should have been implemented even last year. This is a defensive team. This is led by Fletcher Cox. The rest of that defense, one of the best front sevens in the league, right? So you think to win in this league, the way this team is constructed, you'd want to go slow and methodical. Unfortunately, with Chip Kelly, that's not just the way it goes. So you look at the style of play that Doug's bringing in, it actually fits better for this team. The other thing I want to talk about, too, is I do like some of the deception that Doug has in his offense because he's got a bunch of, 2 tight end sets that he uses and, a 2 tight end set, 12 personnel. You think that's a run type of heavy formation, and it's not like that at all. He does a good job of, when it's 2nd and 2, you think you're running the ball. He's not running the ball. He's running seam patterns with the tight end. So that's something I've noticed. I've also noticed, too, that he actually doesn't use the fullback as much as you might think. That's one of the things that we're all excited about. Oh, yeah, we're going to play some power eye football. It hasn't really been that way. He doesn't really use the fullback that much. We'll see what he does this year because Anthony Sherman was the fullback last year in Kansas City, and I didn't see a lot of 21, 22 type of personnel. When they did implement that, it was because they had Kelsey play as a halfback in the backfield.
Yeah, you're really, not going to see the fullback that much, considering that the Eagles really don't have a true fullback on the roster. So I think that kind of tells you that the fullback really isn't going to play a critical role in the offense. Like you were saying, I think who's going to play the critical role is going to be those tight ends. You're really going to see Selleck and Ertz are going to be the main features of this offense. And with Pederson, what he really does is he tries to create, mismatches for his players. So he's going to try the 2 guys that you really can create a mismatch with is a guy like Ertz and a guy like Sproles. So I think Pederson is really going to try to, take advantage of those 2 players. And, that's why you're probably going to see a guy like Ertz really explode this year and hopefully put up big numbers, especially in the red zone, is because the Eagles really don't have many options at the wide receiver position. And just like Pederson in Kansas City, really their only option at wide receiver, the only threat was Jeremy Maclin. Besides that, that's all they had. So teams knew that, but Pederson was able to utilize the tight ends. And, that's what you got to look out for in this offense.
And don't forget my man Trey Burton. I guarantee he's going to get a touchdown this year. You watch.
I was going to get like 5.
But yeah, like Mike said, the tight end's going to be used big time. I like the way Doug's going to use, like I said before, Chip Kelly has hardly used any plays. He used the same like 6 plays the whole game. So Doug is going to utilize some disguises and matchup problems like Sproles and Ertz. So I think he's gonna be just fine. Like Adrian said, the only real weaknesses are if we're playing comeback, that's gonna come down to our defense. But I'm just ready for some Eagles football to get here. We're just a few weeks away.
We're almost there, man. We really are. Like it's been a long off season. Now this is a good question. This is like a Vegas type of bet here. I will say that Trey Burton will score more touchdowns this season than Marcus Smith will record sacks. How about that?
Wow.
There's a nice one. Yeah.
Sign me up.
All right. Well, I also want to talk about how conservative Pederson is, because something that kind of irks me a little bit. When it's like 3rd and 10 plus, he's either calling a draw play or he's calling like a wide receiver screen. I want to see him go after a little bit more. Like we made fun of Chip Kelly for calling like a crossing route on like a 3rd and 8 short of the sticks. I'm seeing a lot of the same from Doug too. So I'm hoping that he can ratchet up that aggressiveness a little bit more. I do like his play calling when it's like 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6, because he actually does call shit beyond the sticks. I do like that about him. He likes to call the slant. He loves the slant. So a lot of slants with Macklin, a lot of even stuff with Kelsey running post patterns and stuff. But I want to see more aggressiveness on the 3rd and longs. I'm hoping that that gets better. And it was only his first year as a play caller, so it's like kind of hard to even get real mad at him. But he only had 8 games worth or whatever it was, 10 games or whatever it was. So, but I want to see more aggressiveness.
Yeah. So this is where there could be a problem, because we all know with Sam Bradford at quarterback. Well, he's Mr. Conservative to a T. So if you have Bradford, combined with Pederson, it's going to be very conservative play calling and very conservative decision makings by Bradford. So really, the whole offense, like I said, runs through the quarterback, and really say how in the world can this Eagles offense work? I mean, they really don't have that much talent, but the Chiefs really didn't have that much talent either, and it really comes down to the turnovers. The Eagles have to limit the turnovers. If Bradford is throwing a ton of interceptions, then really this offense, it doesn't have much of a chance to succeed. So you go back and you look at last season and you look at Alex Smith. So Alex Smith, he completed about 65.3% of his passes, 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And then you look at Bradford, he completed 65%, so he's completing about the same percentage of passes. But he had 19 touchdowns, but then the interceptions, 14 interceptions. So Bradford, he's really got to cut back on the interceptions in order for the offense to work under Pederson. But when you look towards the future here, obviously Wentz is a better fit for this Pederson offense, because when you want to talk about running with the quarterback, and that's something that Pederson had the luxury to do with Alex Smith. I mean, Alex Smith, he carried the ball 84 times for 498 yards and 2 scores. And, well, Bradford is just not going to be able to put up anywhere near those stats on the ground. But those are the type of stats that Wentz would be able to put up, because he's got that athleticism and he's able to run the ball. So that's why I kind of feel like with Bradford at quarterback, the Eagles could get into this very conservative type of offense. And that's why they're going to need the defense to dominate in order for them to succeed.
I have a silver lining with our offense in regards to check down Sammy. Our offensive line is in a much better situation this year than last year. We brought in Brandon Brooks, and we don't have journeyman guards there anymore. I like our offensive line. It'll give Sammy maybe just that extra second or two to not throw the check down on third down, but to see the open guy past the sticks and get that first down. So that just wanted to bring that up, and hopefully that works out in our favor. Because I mean, Sam is an efficient quarterback. He's completed 65% of his passes, but just don't make the stupid decisions, like Mike said. Watch those turnovers.
Yeah, Pederson's offense kind of derived from what Alex Smith had at Utah, because that's how they got the spreadish part of the offense there and the hybrid. Because Andy Reid and Doug Pederson, they went and talked to Urban Meyer, I believe. I forget who they talked to during the offseason to see what kind of Alex Smith kind of did at Utah. So they had some spread kind of concepts. They ran some read option. They ran some zone read. Not a lot, but they ran some of it. Smith did a lot of scrambling, so he was good at that. But they did call some design kind of quarterback runs. I like what – I will say this. I like all the different personnel packages he has. He has all these different packages. He moved Kelsey all over the place. So the foundation is good. He has balance. You never know if he's running or passing the ball. You don't. He'll have 10 personnel out there and he'll run the ball. He'll have 22 personnel. He'll throw the ball. So he kind of does all these different things, which I like. But again, I need to go back to the aggressiveness because I need to see more of that, because he really doesn't throw a lot of passes 10 yards, call a lot of passes 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and the problem is we don't have too many guys that can really stretch the field.
Chris Gibbons, baby.
Yeah, Chris Gibbons.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're really going to have to stretch to get someone that's going to be able to go down the field. So that's why, I'm kind of concerned with the offense, that they're going to be too conservative. So that's why. But I think, for the future, when you get a guy like Wentz in there, I mean, we've seen this, even in the OTAs, you can see that Wentz, I mean, this guy's a rookie. He's not afraid to throw the ball down the field. I mean, this guy is throwing deep passes left and right. And meanwhile, you got Bradford still sticking to those 10-yard routes or less. So you can see the difference between the two quarterbacks. I mean, Bradford is a more conservative guy. Wentz is not afraid to take the risk. And, that's what I like about Wentz. And I think, you're looking long term. I think the Eagles, might be in good shape, combining Wentz with Pederson.
And the future is bright with Ginger Jesus, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were all, as a fan, you want to see the long bombs every once in a while. 3rd and 1, you get stacked personnel, but boom, you really have someone running the go route. But we'll just have to see. But it is nice to see that, like Adrian said, Pederson brings in all these different kinds of packages and deception, and so hopefully he can utilize that. But Chris Gibbons did work with Sammy before, so they've connected on some long passes. But I think Ruben Randall's our second best receiver as of right now.
Yeah, I actually wrote about that yesterday for PI, so check that out if you haven't yet. Ruben Randall. What did I write about? Oh, I wrote about Stephen Tulloch today. We'll get to him in a second. But, dude, I can't tell you how many times, 3rd and 5, and, they pick up 6 yards. They always – it's always, 1 yard beyond the yard to gain. It's so funny watching this Kansas City offense for last year. But, yeah, man. So let's talk about Tulloch now. Let's talk about him. Cut by the Lions yesterday. So I'll simply put it out there. Should the Eagles sign Stephen Tulloch?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see why not. I mean, linebackers, we are extremely thin. It's probably one of the thinnest spots on the team right now. So if you're able to go out and get a veteran guy of his talent at this point, in the off season, I mean, pretty much gearing up for training camp right now, I think you got to do it. We need that big time. If any of our starting 3 linebackers go down, we're pretty much in big trouble right now. I mean, you're talking about putting Najee Good in there. So that's really not too promising. So I think the Eagles would really have to think about it. And plus, when you get with Tulloch, you get the whole, past relationship with Schwartz. So I think that, the writing is on the wall that it all makes sense. It's just a matter of if the Eagles will make the move. I would make the move. You're not going to be paying the guy a lot of money, so I think it's well worth it for bringing him in as a depth player and a guy that can give you some quality snaps if needed.
Yeah, I mean, Mike pretty much hit it all. I agree. I would sign him as well. For veteran leadership, I mean, we're so thin at that position. I mean, it's literally, I would say, hands down our worst depth position. Now that our prized possession linebacker Marcus Smith went down to DN, we don't have him at depth there anymore. But
prized possession.
You like that? If Branham or Hicks or Kendricks, who hasn't ever had a full season, I don't believe, and Hicks
None of the three starters have.
None of the three starters have had a full 16-game season, so it's inevitable that one, possibly two, goes down, and then we have nobody. So I think it's a no-brainer, especially with playing under Jim Schwartz, multiple seasons on multiple teams with Schwartz. So I'm all about it. He's only 31. He'd be cheap, sign him to a one-year deal maybe, and just get it done.
Yeah, it's not like he has to learn a new playbook. He played under Schwartz already, so he already knows the system. I got into a debate today with, I don't know if this guy was just trying to be different or whatnot, but he's like, well, we have Joe Walker and Mike Tavares, and you're going to take a roster spot away from one of those guys. Those guys have been great in camp and all this. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? You're judging rookies that are seventh. One guy's a seventh rounder. The other one's undrafted. So you're judging them. You haven't even seen them play. You're judging them on what you've heard from beat reporters. Who gives a fuck what they think? You really want to rely on these rookies instead of a Stephen Tulloch? I mean, God, what the fuck? When Jordan Hicks went down last year after Week 8, our run defense went to shit. And Stephen Tulloch, he's at his best in run defense. So, if Jordan Hicks goes down, it's almost inevitable he will, because that's what he's been doing since he's been at Texas. You need a run stuffer in there. And I think Tulloch is a guy that can be a two-down run stuffer for you if somebody goes down. And I did the stats yesterday. I believe over the final 8 games, the Eagles allowed 154, 155 yards per game. They were already last in the NFL with 134. So 155, that's even worse. 4.9 yards per carry over the last 8 games once Jordan Hicks went down. That's not a coincidence that all of a sudden they couldn't tackle and plug holes once he was done. So I think you need a guy. I mean, I'm not relying on Najee Good. I'm not relying on Mike Tavares. I'm not relying on Joe Walker to get the job done. It's just simply not going to happen. So Tulloch, yes, he's past his prime. He's not like he used to be, but I think he's better than the options you have behind the starters. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you could see the difference in the defense last year when Hicks went down. We remember that game, the second Cowboys game in Dallas last season. Jordan Hicks, he gets that interception along the sideline, returns it for a touchdown. It was really a game-changing moment in that game. And, I was thinking at the time, wow, that's a play. Thinking, that if Hicks doesn't get hurt, that could really change the season around. We could maybe we would go into the playoffs, because if he was still there the rest of the season, he would have made a big impact on the defense. So it's possible that we could have made the playoffs. But then, Hicks ends up getting hurt later in that game, and it's the opposite effect. And we just pretty much, the defense goes to shit after that. So, we need a guy that can back up Hicks and really be that leader in the middle and stop the run like you were saying. So I think that especially with, like I said, Tulloch having the history with Schwartz with the Lions, I think it all makes sense. I think it would really be dumb for the Eagles not to make the move at this point. I mean, Jesus Christ, with their depth, I mean, it's so bad that they need a veteran like that, and to get able to get a veteran like this, so late, right before training camp, you just gotta, make the move.
Yeah, he just passed his physical for the first time in a while, so he officially got cleared. He should. I mean, I'm sure Jim Schwartz is talking to Howie and Doug and throwing it out there. I mean, they've seen the news. They know it should happen. So I mean, I hope we do make it happen. One thing that's good in this new 4-3 personnel that'll help the linebackers if somebody goes down is the studly beasts we have in the front four. They can do their best to the initial stuff of the run, take a little pressure off the linebackers, and also if we are getting injured at linebacker and resorting to Najee Good and Joe Walker or whoever, you bring someone like Malcolm Jenkins down more in the box and help out the run game, or McLeod. That'll help the run defense a little bit, I think.
Yeah, yeah. All right, speaking of Malcolm Jenkins, he appeared on Celebrity Family Feud a couple days ago. It was funny. One of the questions that was asked, the worst, I forget what it was, like the worst gift what's the worst gift you can receive?
Worst, I think it was the worst homemade gift.
And he said macaroni necklace.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the macaroni necklace.
Oh, I meant to watch that. I saw on the clip, but I never actually clicked on it.
He killed it. He
was well, dude. He got like 150 something points on the final round.
Yeah, the final round he was picked to go, and the other one was funny too, because in the final round. I think one of the first questions, wasn't it, was like, what's the average number of, people that you should sleep with before getting married or something? I think he said like 10, which was like way too high. I think that, they were looking for like 4 or 5.
Steve Harvey's like, you pimp, bro.
Dude, that's an honest average number. He's Malcolm. He's the fucking man. He's a stud.
I mean, for Jeremy, 10 is like nothing. Oh man. But that, if you go on PhillyInfluencer.com, we got the whole video is on there. So at least the clips from Jenkins. So check that out, man. It's really funny, and he's a really smart guy, definitely. So, but the macaroni necklace is just like such a random answer. I thought it was hilarious.
The other guy that was, besides Malcolm, obviously, the other guy that was actually great, and I mean, this isn't funny, this isn't surprising. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. I mean, some of his answers were just classic. That guy's definitely not one of the smartest guys in the league.
Yeah, Malcolm is a sharp guy, and one thing about having him and McLeod back there, that tandem. Who was it? Greg. Who was the defensive coordinator? Who's the defensive coordinator for the Rams? Greg something.
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams. Thank you. He was talking about like McLeod was the quarterback of their defense, and Malcolm Jenkins is the same thing. So put them two together. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. What else? Really not much else to Eagles. Oh, they're all in San Diego right now. The passing camp. That was funny. There's like the picture of them on the little what do you call them things? Kayaks.
Paddleboard things.
Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of Elliott Shore-Parks, but he had a tweet the other day which was kind of funny because everybody else has like their shirts off, and Bradford has this like long sleeves like water fucking suit on or some shit, and he's still going with the sleeves.
Yeah, he doesn't want to show off his body like Wentz. Wentz had his shirt off. He was rocking his six-pack, so good for the future. But like I said, it all goes back to Bradford. he's got a very conservative approach on life. He just can't take that shirt off.
Oh man, he's got the skinniest friggin' arms in the world. He doesn't have the guns to show off. There it is.
There's your once a show gun show. There you go. You want to keep going because you were talking? I cut you off.
Oh no, that's
Okay.
that's it.
That picture is kind of funny. And then you got Wentz. Like he puts me to shame. I'm pretty pasty.
He's pasty.
He's pasty. Yeah, he's blinding. He makes the sun look pasty too.
Yeah, I hope he puts on a lot of sunscreen. Otherwise, he would be a lobster in about 10 minutes on a day like today.
Oh, you're not kidding. Jesus Christ.
We can't lose Carson to skin cancer. We need him.
Yes.
We need him for years to come.
Yes. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Okay. All bases covered today.
Yeah, so really final thoughts. When you look at it, you think about it. The Eagles they're probably going to average like 23 to 25 points per game this season, or maybe less. So really, what that means is, like I was saying, the defense is really going to have to dominate in order for this team to win. I don't think that Bradford is really the best fit for Pederson's offense. I think that Wentz will eventually be the better fit, but Bradford just doesn't have that ability to run like Alex Smith does. He's just not as athletic, and I think that's kind of going to limit what the Eagles can do on offense because they really don't have that many weapons on offense. So, hopefully the defense can really turn it on this season and dominate under Schwartz, but the defense is going to have to create a lot of turnovers and score a lot of defensive touchdowns in order for us to really succeed and try to fight for division crown. But I think that this season it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, and that's why looking at the schedule, especially the second half of the schedule, I think that our defense is, we're going to face some really quality opponents, and it's going to be tough for the defense to put together, consecutive quality games. So I don't think that the offense will produce enough firepower for us to, really fight for division crown. That's why I'm looking at 6 to 7 wins.
Well, I think Romo's going to get hurt like he always does. And I think 8 wins. If we can get to 8, we might be up in there with the Giants, Redskins, and the Cowboys for division. I think everyone's gonna be a mismatch around 500. I think 9 will definitely win the division. But if we can get close to 8 wins, the D and special teams getting hot. I think the D can be top 10. Special teams can be top 5 like it always has in recent years under FIP, and just the offense has to just be as efficient as it was with Doug and KC. I think we'll be all right, and hopefully, there's a tough stretch around the middle of the season. But we just surprise some people. We're a little over 2 weeks away from training camp, and I can't wait.
Oh, we should go.
Oh. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. My final thought. I made the mistake of wearing my new jeans on July 4th. I got a bunch of stains on them. It's not from the ketchup or mustard from the hot dogs and the burgers I ate. It's because Ben Simmons made his Summer League debut, and oh my God. Dude, the one pass where he gets the defensive rebound and he threads the needle between 3 defenders, I exploded. I had to cover up, my stain. But dude, promising start from Mr. Simmons. Kyle took a vacation this week, so that's why we didn't do a show. But man, I love Ben. I can't wait. It's funny because you look at the box score and he went 2 for 9. And you don't even realize he went 2 for 9 because he made that much of an impact. Now, it's Summer League. Like, it really doesn't fucking matter. But it's a glimpse into the future, and oh my God, he can really fucking pass the ball.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the future with Wentz. It seems like a bright future for him, and then Simmons looks like a bright future for him too. So I mean, Philadelphia, we got a lot of young stars. I mean, goes to Fear on the Flyers, and then the Phillies, you got Franco. So a lot of young stars here in Philadelphia. But with Simmons, I mean, you can really the big thing that you take away from that summer league game is you just look at his, the court vision. He's got great court vision, and it's just passing ability is really top notch. And he has, for such a tall guy, he can handle the ball pretty well. So that's good to see too. So yeah, I think I think obviously we were all holding our breath there when Simmons exited the game. You're worrying about a serious injury already, but he just had some cramps, so thank God.
He's just like his mentor, LeBron James.
This is his first game in like 4 months.
Yeah.
So I don't, but he's so exciting, and I love what the Sixers did this offseason, leaving a lot of cap flexibility. You don't have to make any big splashes right away. We have so many assets in next year's draft. We could potentially swap with the Kings, who are going to be god-awful. We can get the first overall pick next year. You never know. And then we got the Lakers pick. Oh, I mean, just adding more young studs to the group, and then we'll make the move for like a solid veteran maybe next offseason. But, I love it. And KD is he made a move. Kevin Durant made a move.
The Splash family. Dude, I don't know what the fuck that's all about. I lost respect for KD. I'm sorry. Just join in the bandwagon. What could you say? If you can't beat him, join him. I didn't like the move. But, see, here's the thing about that. See, now I'm like deriving. We got to end the show. But Michael Jordan lost back-to-back series against the Detroit Pistons in the late 80s and I think 90s. Yeah, 89 and 90. You didn't see MJ want to go to Detroit. Ew.
It was different. There was more loyalty back then. There was. No more loyalty anymore at all.
This is fucking gay, dude. It's gay. But
and all the cap went up, and salary cap went up. Everyone's getting so much money. I hate what the NBA is doing. I hate it.
It's dumb. It's really dumb. And I made this point last night. It's funny because Gerald Henderson and Jared Bayless got $9 million a season. Steven Stamkos got a new contract, $8.5 million a season. Jared Bayless makes more than Steven Stamkos. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's just absolutely absurd, the amount of money these players are getting in the NBA. And especially these guys that are below average players in the NBA, it's just insane the amount of money they're getting. But yeah, I mean, like Jeremy was saying, I mean, there's no loyalty anymore in the NBA. These guys just, really put together a super team and see how many titles they can win. So we'll see how many titles this Warriors team can now win.
Well, you don't think Timothy Mozgov is worth $15 million a year? Come on, he's a stud. He played like 8 minutes a game last year.
I actually kind of like Mozgov a little bit, but not for that price.
Oh,
definitely not. All right, I guess I'll make one final point before we get out. I'll say this about the Warriors. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than people think because what they were so good at last year, the reason why they had all these wins was the depth that they had. They went 10 to 12 deep because their second team was like better than most starters. But now they had to trade them all away because you got to make room for KD. So no more Harrison Barnes, no more Bogut, getting rid of all these guys. So you're going to replace these guys with like marginal players like Zaza Pachulia, So I think it's going to take some time to build that cohesiveness. I don't think they're a lock by any means to win the NBA title. I think Cleveland is still capable of beating them, but definitely the best team in the West. They'll probably win like 60 to 65 games. So I don't want to like make it sound like I'm being too dramatic, but people are saying like 75 wins. I don't think it's like that. So there you go. All right, we're out. Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton. I'm Adrian Fedke. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show today. Yeah, we're out. Later.
Later.